It
Great.
Jeremy James for the best takes in NFL and football betting, fantasy football, and the latest news. Get ready to steer the line.
And hey, welcome everyone to Steer the Line on KMET 1490 AM in Southern California, and for everyone who's tuning in on YouTube or Twitch with us tonight on the Steer the Line channels. I'm Jeremy James, along, of course, with the usual crew, Rocky Giordani, Christian Giordani, and Loud Esmond, and we're here to talk football. Preseason is in full swing, gentlemen. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing today?
I'm fantastic. Rocky
Hanging in there.
on. Everything's
Hanging
great.
in there. A little disenchanted with the games yesterday, but there was some really cool stuff. You know, if you love football, good news, bad news kind of thing.
Well, I'll tell you this. My very first official NFL pick went live on Winners and Winers 2 days ago, and it was the Baltimore Ravens to win and cover in that NFL preseason game. So I am 100% for my paid official NFL picks on Winners and Winers. I retire.
That's it. Like Joe Burrow, he should just retire.
Okay, I'm good.
Wish we had some confetti effects or something for you.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, we'll talk about some of the other picks that I've got that are up and live on the site and some videos we've done. The other exciting thing today is we're adding a segment to the program. Christian produced it with me earlier today. It is called the Snoqualmie Sportsbook Weekend Outlook. And this is a 5, 6, 7-minute segment I'm going to be doing every week from the sportsbook at Snoqualmie Casino and Sportsbook, where I'm going to catching us up with the news coming into the weekend. What are the big games? Where is the money being bet? And, just other news and notes on NFL and college football betting. And I do those segments from my favorite sports book. Man, it is a class experience. It is a great place. Rocky, do you like steaks?
I love it. My favorite.
Man, there's a steakhouse there called Vista. They have a Wagyu steak sampling plate, ribeye, filet, couple other cuts. It's only going to set you back $169.
You can spend that at the casino here.
Well, worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jeremy, we did a video earlier this week talking about the similarities between fantasy football and sports bettors. And basically what we established is you do a lot of research in either one, right?
Yeah, it's about doing research, doing your homework, getting your all your news and notes and numbers where you want them. You've got to figure out all the matchups, who's playing, who's hurt, who's not, once we kind of dug into it, it's very much the same getting ready for a season of fantasy football or daily fantasy as it is for placing bets
or setting up your team for the weekend. You're looking at defenses, offenses, matchups. How's this receiver going to do against the cornerback that he's facing? How does this defense do against this type of offense? It's all very similar. So if you are a fantasy football person, you are very much doing the same things you would do to be a sports bettor, especially when it comes to the NFL and college football. So as sports betting becomes legal all across the United States, and it might just be legalized shortly after the election day here in California. Well, there in California for you guys. Here in the Pacific Northwest, it's legal for me here in Washington State and Oregon. But the rules are all different depending on where you are. So, for example, in Washington State, you can bet on sports, but you can only bet on sports on the property of an Native American casino. Because that's the way that that was decided in the state of Washington. In New Jersey, anybody who wants to can apply to have a sports book license. So there are guys that own bars that are also now sports books. So it's different from state to state. In California, the big fight is over whether FanDuel and Jeremy, who's the other big one? DraftKings.
DraftKings, yeah.
Whether FanDuel and DraftKings will be able to go into California and, hey, you can bet it from anywhere, from your house, from your couch, from your wherever, or whether Caesars and Vegas are going to, and BetMGM are going to control it, or whether it's going to be similar to Washington State, where you actually have to go into a Native American casino in person to place a real bet. I'm not a real bet, but an in-person bet. Rocky, between the choice of you actually have to go somewhere to place a sports bet, or you can do it from anywhere, which, by the way, doesn't necessarily benefit anyone in California in any way. Which do you prefer?
Yeah, I prefer the on-site sports betting. I do not will not abide by the online or bookies off the. You can say reservations. Let's just say on casino property, because it doesn't matter where the casino is.
Right.
It's a legal gambling place. I foresee, first of all, tons of problems with minors gambling and people who just shouldn't be gambling. Lose away their money. This is just another way to tax poor people. Let them bet a few pennies online. They're addicted. They start spending all their money, and they're collecting it in taxes, but they're not. Now they can't pay their rent. It's people who can afford it.
You know what it is
You have to make
for
them
the
bet.
online betting? It's too easy.
Too easy.
It's too easy. You can get mad because you just lost a bet, and then you put in another $100, and then you put in another $200, and it's too easy because it doesn't seem real. But when you have to pull cash out of your bank to drive to a casino sports book, to walk up to the window and place a bet, there's all sorts of barriers between you and being stupid. Now, you can't fix stupid, and if somebody's stupid, they can pull all their money out from the ATM at the casino and do just as badly. Jeremy, your thoughts?
Well, there's another aspect of this in California.
Hang on, Rocky. Let's get Jeremy in here.
Sorry. Yeah. I had a thought.
Now you're trying to remember.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to remember because I
because
got bowled over by Rocky there after you threw it to me.
Sorry, bro.
But no, you're right. As far as it being too easy, I can imagine. I've never been that big into sports betting or gambling in general, but I can imagine sitting at home, losing a couple of games, and getting frustrated. Next thing you know, your ATM card is wiped clean at the end of a Sunday, and you're just kind of screwed. You've spent money you don't have or you shouldn't. It become a problem for people when it's that easy to do. So I think having to get up, hold the cash in hand it over to somebody, and then while you're out and about, you can just kind of stop yourself, hopefully, from going back to the ATM and walk out of the casino. When you're at home, all you got to do is just keep dialing that number and giving them that card number.
My preferred way to sports bet is to set a budget, look at what bets I'm going to do for the weekend, go to the sports book on a Friday, place my bets, and go home. Because then I'm not there to get mad about losing and make more mistakes. The money that and hopefully the sports book is at least 30 minutes away from your house, so that you can't just walk right down the street and do it again. And then you're watching. Look, there are some sports books that are very comfortable. The one at Snoqualmie is great. There's a beautiful little bar right there and some great seating and TVs and stuff. But I'm a guy that likes to place my bets at the sports book, get my tickets, and then I go home, and from the comfort of my couch, well, actually for me it's a large overstuffed easy chair, I watch the games. And then I go the next Friday and I cash in my winnings, and then I place more bets. Christian, you're not of legal betting age, but what do you think?
it's so different now with everyone being able to bet almost anything online, and now like casinos are having betting sets online too. I see betting the same as gambling. You know, if you're an expert at it,
It is gambling, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah. But if you're an expert at it, do it correctly. But whether you're betting online or betting in person, make sure to take a lies from Loud Esmond.
Well, and look, I always tell people, set a budget, don't bet more than you can lose, and don't chase a winning streak by betting more, and don't chase a losing streak by betting more. Set up what your bets are going to be for the weekend, go place those bets, and leave it at that. When you get into a cycle of, oh, geez, I lost that game. Now, you know what? This is why you see a lot of betting on Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football that people lose. Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, people lose almost 70% of the time. That's way higher than it is normally. Normally, it's about a 50-50 split for a sports book. And where the sports book makes its money is on the VIG. Rocky, right? It's the money in the middle where the sports book gets paid.
Well, that's where all the money is. It's on the VIG. It's a 10-cent line on everything you bet. Unless you buy
10 to
that.
15 to 20 to 35 to 40, depending on the bet.
Yeah. Maybe your 10-cent line is the usual.
Is the average, industry average. But like if you want to buy points or do an exotic,
Then
you're going to pay more.
But now there's another aspect of this in California, Lou, and because I'm in California, I'd really like to mention this. Prop 27, which is the vote that's going to come out on Tuesday, whatever, November 3rd, about betting online. Winners and whoever they are, the DraftKings, whoever they are, they have disguised this prop with so much crap. You start out and goes, this is a proposition to help mental health, money for mental health. And after 3 pages, we find out it's about them being allowed to allow your children to bet
they're pledging a certain amount of money to homeless.
Disguise it. Anybody that dishonest is up to something no good. There's no freaking way.
On the other hand, Rocky, the Native American casinos, the large ones, have all grouped together, and they're running ads talking about how terrible gambling is. So,
right.
I mean, come on.
No, they have counselors at those, because the ones in here in California anyway have. But still, the fact that they're disguising this prop as a bill to help mental health is really dishonest, and it's crooked. These guys are obviously crooked, and I don't want nothing to do with them in my state. Nobody should bet yes on Prop 27. It should be shot down. And yeah, I think you should have to get up out of the comfort of your home, go make a bet. If you want to go gamble, go gamble. If you want to sit at home and play on the internet, you shouldn't be able to lose all your money. Guy lays down $10 with his wife so it can be fun. Then she goes to bed, and all of a sudden he's just betting, and it's over, man. They can't pay their rent.
And the thing you really don't want to do is combine alcohol and online betting.
And by the way, not a dime of this money will go to what they say is mental health. The California lottery is supposed to go to schools. Not one dime has ever been gone.
All right, Rocky.
Never.
We hear you. Okay, let's talk about football, Jeremy. What's on your mind?
Preseason. There's been some games going on. There's been some interesting things already happening in the game, some interesting performances. I got to say, so far, 2 days into the preseason games happening, Malik Willis looked pretty darn good playing in Tennessee. I liked what I saw with the young kid, and I'm thinking Tannehill better not falter too much this season, because that kid's going to be right on his tail. I know Christian saw it.
That kid is good, man. I got the numbers right here. 54.6 completion rate, 107 yards with no touchdowns. But I know he rushed for a few yards. I don't have the exact numbers up here. But he just put on a show this preseason. It was insane.
But Vrabel yanked him.
Yes, because he wouldn't throw the ball.
Rocky, tell that story.
You go ahead. Vrabel yanked him because he wouldn't throw the ball. He was running first. And they had to once they calmed him down, he looked like he was being pretty patient in the pocket. And I think this is absolutely the worst case scenario for Mike Vrabel. There will now be a quarterback controversy in Tennessee that he really did not need. He didn't need this at all.
For me, if they're smart, what they do is they have Tannehill play quarterback all this year, and they have special packages they set up to take advantage of the skills that the young kid has. And they, like Taysom Hill in New Orleans for so long, every now and then they need a critical first down. It's 3rd and 6, and they have some gadget play that's a quarterback run or RPO or whatever. That's what I would be doing with him. Jeremy?
It's not a bad idea, and you've seen people kind of use those packages before. I've got to wonder, like Rocky was saying, could he have some kind of quarterback controversy? Because the fans, the minute Tannehill looks bad or throws a pick or they lose a game, they're going to be clamoring for this kid because he's the young, shiny new toy. So do you put him out there in packages and keep him fresh on everyone's mind, or do you bury him on the bench if you don't want to mess with him this year?
If I want to win games, I'm putting Malik Willis in certain packages, goal line, 3rd and 4 or 5, where I desperately really need a win on a play, and maybe I'm using him 8-10 plays a game maximum. The other thing that you could do is you could put him in the backfield at running back, or split him out at wide receiver and have him run back in, flip him the ball, let him throw it. I mean, you could really have fun with him, Rocky.
Yeah, if you look at those numbers again, Christian, in the first half, he passed for like 100 yards. That's averaging 200 yards a game. That is not a quarterback. That is not a starting quarterback in the NFL by any stretch. He did have some exciting plays, moments, but let's remember, guys, this was the first game we've seen since February, right? So we were all excited. And a guy makes a quick 10-yard run, 11-yard run for a touchdown, and it looked good. And we're all excited, But I would just tap the brakes a little bit on this kid. He's not ready. 100 yards in the first half, then they pulled him. What's 100 yards passing?
Well, no, that's what the preseason's about, though. There's not much else. You got the little things, the excitement, the plays, the rookies doing good things. It's week 1, so of course we're going to get excited when we watch the kid play.
Exactly.
But one thing you got to remember, though, to what Lou was saying about packages for him, especially in the goal line, Tannehill's not a bad rusher. When he gets up there, within the 10, no, he's not. But I'm just saying, near the goal line, he had 7 rushing touchdowns 2 years ago, something like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do if Tannehill falters for a game or two, or throws a couple of picks, or I don't know. People are going to be clamoring for the kid, I think.
And it will be an absolute disaster.
It might be.
Put him in.
Yeah, you can't. He is not ready to play quarterback full time in the NFL. And I agree, it would be a disaster. I think the best case scenario for them is they have special packages for that kid, and then we see where that goes. All right.
Yeah, I still think he's a year behind. He has a little bit of stuff to work on, especially on his pocket passing. But a year or two behind Tannehill, I think it will be a starting caliber quarterback. And at worst, if Tannehill goes down, you have an unproven prospect.
I don't think Ryan Tannehill ever wins a Super Bowl for the Tennessee Titans.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, Derrick Henry is, going to be on the downside of his career as a running back, as good as he is. Man, if they had brought in a healthy young Derrick Henry with this kid and you had an RPO game, how devastating would that be? Oh, I got picked up from Malik Willis and the 22-year-old Derrick Henry. Holy no. What that bad. There's this guy in Derrick Henry. Although it's great. Running back don't do so.
Lou, anyone hear that? Lou's kind of cutting in.
Nope, Lou broke up that whole thing. Missed that whole discourse, Lou. Something wrong.
Your mic
sorry.
There you are.
That's all right. There you go.
Christian, next topic.
Deshaun Watson's potential appeal, the NFL is appealing Deshaun Watson's suspension of 6 games, I believe. Am I right, Jeremy?
Yes.
6 games? All right. 6 games, and they want to move it to at minimum 8 games. They're looking for 12 to a season. And Deshaun Watson, Browns are willing to accept an 8-game ban plus a $5 million fine, which isn't very much to a guy who's making $230 million over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, I believe.
Whatever.
it's not that big of an impact. If you're gonna find a guy, find him hard. But there's a cap, I believe, that they have fined on him. But despite that, the real thing about this whole appeal is that, considering that the suspension is being appealed, on a technicality, Deshaun Watson would be able to start in week 1. The same way Tom Brady was suspension for Deflategate was appealed back in 2014, 2015, I believe.
Yeah.
He was able to start a few games into the season before his suspension. So I don't think the NFL or the Cleveland Browns are going to allow it to happen, but it's a very slim possibility that he could see the field on week 1 before, if the appeal has not been set yet. Lou, Jeremy?
I don't think the NFL wants to see Deshaun Watson anywhere near a football field, and we'll move heaven and earth to stop that from happening. Jeremy?
Yeah, they're going to get it done. They'll find a way before week 1, I think, to make a final decision. And honestly, I don't know if they saw it this way. If I'm the NFL, I'm almost insulted. He's like, you know what? Nah, suspend me for 2 more games. I'll give you guys $5 million cash and just
call it a day.
Yeah, nah,
No,
This guy needs to go down for a year, in my opinion.
That is even more arrogant and more. I mean, one of the things that Sue L. Robinson said was one of the reasons she wanted to actually do more is she said he has absolutely no remorse.
No.
He admits no wrongdoing. He says, I didn't do anything wrong. Go kiss my ass. And that's why it's like, no, we can't let that slide. And the NFL, my God, Roger Goodell came from the public relations department in the NFL. How could he F this up this bad?
He came right out and called Deshaun Watson a predator yesterday. He used the word that I used.
You can't have him
months
in
ago.
your league.
Period. He shouldn't be there.
Crazy.
You know, let's remember what he did. Right in some unwilling young lady's eye. Come on, man. You know, dude, this guy has.
You know what? I'd rather you just kicked me in the. Anyway,
I'll take the punch by Ray Rice in the
all right. I'm moving on. We're not going back. We got enough on that already.
Yes.
Look, we got about 5 minutes left while we're still on Cammy T. I want to talk about some picks. You want to talk about picks? I want to talk about some picks. Rocky, I had the Ravens to win last night. You know why? Jim Harbaugh had won 20 preseason games in a row. They broke the record last night, winning the 21st. They broke the record of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
back when they were led by Lombardi.
He's that kind of guy.
The Saints are only minus 120 on the money line to beat the Texans this weekend in preseason. One of the things that I love to look at in preseason is who are your second and third string quarterbacks? Because the first string guy isn't going to play much in the first game, at least. The Texans have Mo, Curley, and Larry at quarterback, which means you're getting Curley and Larry, who's going to play in that game. And for the Saints, you have Andy Dalton as number 2 and an underrated Ian Book from Notre Dame, who's a heady, smart, tough, gritty quarterback who won a lot of games at Notre Dame. I mean, if I just look at who's going to be playing most of the game at quarterback for the Texans, and it's Mo and Curley, and then I have Andy Dalton and Ian Book, my God, I love the Saints to win that preseason game, Rocky.
Yeah, that
suck everywhere.
That one sticks out. You know, like yesterday, it comes down to backup quarterbacks, and it will in the rest of the preseason. These guys are throwing out a starting. You know, Andy Dalton will probably still start for the Texans. You know what I mean? But he's not playing for the Texans. But he's still a pretty good, high caliber, quality backup. And yeah, I think if Andy Dalton takes the field, Texans are looking. They're going to be a lot of trouble.
Jameis Winston is out. Jameis Winston will not play.
That's who?
Jameis Winston will not play. He's nursing a hamstring injury.
J-Bo.
Always. It's chronic.
But I just look at those two quarterbacks for the Texans, Mo and Curley, or Curley and Mo. I may have them backwards. And then you have two quality backups for New Orleans. New Orleans defense, even at the second and third level, is really good. The Texans don't have jack anywhere. They've got nothing. As,
They got Brandon Cooks. They got Brandon Cooks. He's good.
He's not going to play.
Oh, okay.
As Al Capone said to Kevin Costner in The Untouchable, you got nothing.
You got nothing.
All right, and then another one is the Carolina Panthers are playing the Washington Commanders tomorrow. Matt Rule is insisting that there is a quarterback competition, and he's going to play a lot of Baker Mayfield and a lot of Sam Darnold equal time to try to figure out who the right guy is to lead the Panthers. With those two guys playing and the fact that they've said Carson Wentz is maybe going to play a series, Taylor Heineke is really good, but I don't think the Commanders want to risk getting him injured either, because if Wentz struggles, they're going to need Heineke to go in. Heineke won 8 games last year for them.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to get him hurt either. So this is purely a speculative play. I believe Carolina will play a lot of Baker Mayfield and a lot of Sam Darnold, and both will be motivated to make plays. And then on the Washington side, Wentz will play a series and be out of there, and he'll throw at least one interception. Just kidding. And then, what does Washington have at backup quarterback? They're not going to pay Heineke much because they're going to need him in case Carson Wentz sucks, likely. And then their third and fourth string guys play. So I love watching what the quarterback play is going to be in the preseason, what the coaching tendencies are. My first official bet for winners and whiners on the NFL was Baltimore Ravens to win and cover, and they did, because Harbaugh just doesn't lose in the preseason. He's 42-12, so it's ridiculous. All right, those are my picks. We're rolling on. Jeremy?
Rolling.
All right. Well, we're already out on KMET. We talked over our outro, so
Oh, sorry.
we can just keep on going there.
When are we going to plug in the
We can do that right
Snoqualmie
now.
Sportsbook Weekend Outlook segment?
We can do that right now.
Let's roll it now.
I got it.
Loud Esmond here, coming to you from the Snoqualmie Sportsbook at the Snoqualmie Casino, the closest casino to Seattle. And for me, the classiest sportsbook around. You got great people over here that are going to help you out if you need to make a bet. You got any questions? It's a wonderful place to hang out and place your sports book bets. And as sports betting just grows more and more popular, it's going to be something you're going to want to get into. If you've never placed a sports bet before, it makes watching the games so much more exciting and so much more fun. And plus, catching a great ticket after a win, wonderful. I'm being told here that there's still a lot of action going in on the Seattle Mariners here. Of course, you've got Major League Baseball that you can bet on right now. The Mariners looking very good. They are doing very well. And in fact, the sportsbook manager tells me that there are a number of people placing bets for them to win it all, the World Series and also their division and the total number of wins, and there's just a lot of action coming in on the Seattle Mariners. But, of course, for me, the king of all sports betting is football. And we're in preseason football right now, and I'll tell you there's a couple of games, 3 really, whose line moves have been really interesting. The Carolina Panthers started as a 2.5-point, 3-point favorite at the beginning of the week. They are now plus 2.5 when they take on their game on Saturday. So the Carolina Panthers, very interesting when they play the Falcons, how that line has moved. And then I think we have the Hard Knocks effect going on with the Detroit Lions. The line has moved significantly in their game as well, in the favor of the Lions. So the Lions are also, there's been quite a move there. And then, of course, the Carolina Panthers are going to be taking on the Washington Commanders. And like I said, that line, originally you had the Commanders as a favorite. I'm sorry, you had the Panthers as a favorite, and now it's all the way up to, in some places, as high as 3, but right now it's Snoqualmie Sportsbook, where we're giving you the Snoqualmie Sportsbook weekend outlook. It is up to the Panthers plus 2.5. And like I said, the line has moved decisively in the Lions' favor as well. One line you haven't seen a lot of movement is the Saints. The Saints on the money line minus 110 as one as well that I think is worth checking out. So you got a full slate of NFL preseason games you can check out here. If you want to get my picks and more information, you can watch the Steer the Line radio show, Steer the Line, on YouTube, STEER, theline.com as well. SteerTheLine.com, you'll also get my picks there. And, of course, you can find me on Winners and Winers and Max Wagers Network and other places as well. Just look for Loud Esmond and Sportsbooks. Loud Esmond and Sports Bets. Loud Esmond and NFL Bets. Any of those things, and you'll find me. All right, well, this has been the Snoqualmie Sportsbook Weekend Outlook with yours truly, Loud Esmond. You know,
Yeah, I know that guy.
What?
I know that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of fuzzy in the picture. Gonna have to get
Very good.
He's a snappy dresser.
Oh,
Excellent.
he is absolutely.
Now,
One of the lines that has moved a lot this week, by the way, all of a sudden, is the Las Vegas Raiders were minus 1.5, minus 2 going into the game against the Vikings, and that has moved to minus 4, minus 5 in a lot of places. Guess why, Jeremy?
Why is that? I have no idea.
The Vikings starting quarterback. Do you like that? Kirk Cousins has COVID
Oh, that's right. I saw that yesterday. He's gonna be.
and will not be making the trip.
Who is their backup quarterback in Minnesota? I have no idea.
Me neither.
Christian Giordani knows. No, he doesn't, actually.
Yeah, I have no clue who the backup is in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
But
Well,
I
in
mean,
any case, the line has moved massively.
Keelan
Let me ask-
Mond. Keelan Mond.
Kelly
Keelan
Mond?
Mond.
Kelly
Keelan
Mond.
Mond. Thank you.
something
Does
like that.
anybody know who Keelan Mond is?
No.
He's that one guy that backs up the other
He's
guy.
that guy that's behind. Do you like that? Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We
a
move
sophomore
on.
season, so yeah.
Lou,
We move on to
before you
something
move on,
interesting.
Lou, explain why the line moves. I get live messages. A lot of most of the people who are listening now.
Oh,
to,
okay. Yeah.
hear
No,
the
right,
line,
Rocky. Okay, let me.
They want to know
explain.
why
Okay.
the line is moving because it's
Okay.
it's important.
So when the Raiders were minus 1.5, minus 2 at the start of the week, the expectation was Kirk, do you like that? Cousins was going to play a couple of series in the game, and then they would bring in the backup quarterback. Well, Kirk, do you like that? Cousins now has COVID. He's not even traveling with the team, which means the second string quarterback is going to start the game, which means the third and fourth string quarterbacks are going to see significant time in the game. Meanwhile, the Raiders have their full complement of whoever they want to play. They did not play Derek Carr, Devontae Adams in the first game. It's likely they're going to want them to get their feet wet a little bit in the second game and then hold them out in the third so they're as healthy as possible going into the season.
Right.
So what the books are looking at is all of a sudden the Vikings are starting Mo Curley and Joe at quarterback, and Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are likely to play at least a couple of series in this game, and they think that's going to be a disaster for the Vikings. Rocky.
Technically, after all that's said and done, what it boils down to on any game besides that game that you're talking about, whenever the line moves, if a team
It's
starts
because
out,
somebody's betting in a certain direction. Right.
the money's coming in on that team, so you have to give more points. If you want to keep betting on the Raiders, you're going to have to give 2 points, 3 points. Now it's at 4.5 because the smart money is coming in betting the Raiders. That's
Right.
what it boils down to.
Which,
So now you can.
which, if everybody needs to understand, the sportsbook does not win by betting better than you. They win by getting 50% of the people over here and 50% of the people over here. That cancels out their wins or losses, and they collect the 10 to 15% in the middle every time. The VIG, the
The
Vigorous,
vig, baby. It's all about the
the
vig.
juice, whatever you call
The
it.
juice.
If you are a sports book and you consistently get 50% here, 50% here, and you're collecting 10 to 15% on everybody's action, you can't lose.
For a moderate service charge, we will allow you to bet.
We will charge you to take your action. Jeremy, Raiders, offensive line. A lot of doom and gloom from the national media in terms of how bad that line is. You have Lester Cotton Jr. that has appeared on the scene. You have the 6th round, 5th round draft pick from Ohio State. Parham, I think his name.
He was a third-round pick, yeah.
Third-round pick, who's playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
You have Brandon Parker that might start at right tackle.
Parker's out. Parker's out for the season.
Oh.
He's on. Yeah, he went on IR. Unfortunately, a few days ago. So yeah, Parker is done for the season.
Sucks.
It does.
If you're a Raiders fan.
You know, but there's
So
been some.
tell me about the offensive line. Is it
there's
as bad
been
as the national media is saying?
There's been some good notes coming out of camp, and some decent reports on the way that Leatherwood played in the game. The Hall of Fame game, though he's been practicing and getting in there both at tackle and a little time at guard. They're also liking the young rookie, Dylan Parham. I don't know if he's going to break the starting lineup, but if he keeps playing well, he very well could. I think he has a good chance at being one of the guards once the season starts. There's still talk they may sign somebody for the offensive line. There's not a whole lot out there to choose from. There's maybe a possibility of a trade. Yeah, I don't know if they've got a little bit to work with as far as players and capital and plenty of money to spend, so they could still make some kind of move on the offensive line. But right now, it looks like it's going to be what we see is what we're going to get. They're just keep working with the guys they got in camp, and we'll see if they make any changes there. I'm not really sure who's available to upgrade that line right now.
The other thing I've heard from Raiders training camp is that Max Crosby is unblockable. No matter who they put on him, he's blowing through them. And there was a story in The Athletic that said Max Crosby may take a massive leap this year. Here's why. What would be a massive leap for Max Crosby, Jeremy?
I think getting into the mid-teens, 12 to 15 sacks. He's always pressuring the quarterback. He's one of the best at getting there. But his sack numbers aren't at the upper end of things in the NFL. And I think more people like to see him finish a lot of that pressure. And if he can get into that 12, 13, maybe 14, 15 sacks, I think that's him taking a huge step this season, getting into that double-digit sacks and kind of keeping that range throughout his career.
Rocky, how weak do you think the Raiders' offensive line situation is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being fantastic? Where do you think it is?
I don't think their offensive line is going to be their problem this year. I really don't. I think people talk about they pay a lot of service to things, but I don't think anybody's really worried about their offensive line. I mean, not like that. The Raiders' problems in winning games really did not lie on the performance of the offensive line.
No, it was the defense. It was the secondary specifically.
Yeah, and by the way, you were talking about your Crosby, who was the Raiders' defense. He turned out to be the heart of that. He was their defense. After the midseason.
You know what I love about him and Darren Waller? Both those guys had massive substance abuse problems. Waller was addicted to pills. Crosby was an alcoholic. Both of them are totally clean and sober and support each other. And there's a group within the Raiders organization of players who have had substance abuse problems who meet like every other day and do like, Narcanon or AA or whatever. Right, which is kind of amazing in a weird sort of way, and good for them.
It's good. You were talking about Max Crosby making a leap. There's a reason for that, Lou. Who did they add to their defense?
The Cardinals guy, Jeremy.
Chandler Jones.
Chandler
Right.
Jones.
There you go. So he's gonna get a lot more help on that defense, and that's why he's gonna make leaps, because it's not just gonna be where's Crosby.
Yeah, Max
Okay,
Crosby's
let me
going to
ask
have an
you this.
insane season.
Yeah,
Rocky.
He's gonna be balling, Lou.
You're concerned about Matt Stafford in the elbow as a Rams super fan.
Not that much after seeing him in the last little bit of training camp. There was some concern about it, and he did take a little time up. Actually, it wasn't a decision. Coach Sean pulled him out and said, "Look, until we isolate the problem, find out what it is, the doctors say, we're not gonna let you throw that many passes." But by the end of training camp, man, he was throwing dimes downfield, and he knows he's gonna be fine. It'll bother him a little bit, but it will not be a factor. I really don't think it's gonna be a factor. Thank God.
Yeah, with Matthew Stafford and the tendonitis in his elbow, I thought it would have been a giant, terrible thing for the Rams this season, especially since he's known to be a gunslinger and known to be a guy to throw downfield, and those types of injuries could really affect a player. But seeing him at the end of training camp throwing dimes, Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Jacoby Durant, all of his receivers, he looks good. He looks really healthy. It is not bad to the point where it is affecting his throwing motion or his throwing power. That, as far as we can see from the clips they have shown us. Now, do I think this will be lingering and worse throughout the season? I pray not. I hope not. But it's something that the Rams should still have a hold on. They should still look for a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo to be a backup if he's cut.
Yeah, well, he'll play through the pain for the most of it. He may miss a game this year.
Yeah, he's a tough guy, no doubt about it. It's just that there's always a chance that injuries like that could come back and haunt him. So it's always good to be prepared.
Go get the Raiders.
One of the things that we watch every year at the beginning of the season. Jeremy, have you been watching Hard Knocks?
Yeah, I watched the first episode. It was fantastic. I absolutely.
God damn! It was the best Hard Knocks episode I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, that crew of coaches they have in Detroit of former players.
For Dan Mullen.
Yeah, it's spectacular. I love them all.
For Dan Mullen.
I'm rooting for the Lions this year.
Dan Mullen.
Yeah, no, the show was great. All the coaches were fun. It's going to be a fun season of Hard Knocks, I think, watching that coaching staff, even more so than the players. The coaching staff is top-notch as far as a bunch of characters. And I had no idea how many former players actually had on staff. So, yeah, like I said, I'm rooting for the Lions this year, man. I'd like to see them do good. I think they're going to be scrappy and fun.
Yeah, this whole crew is probably a Lions fan group this season, man. It's going to be fun. I love the Lions. I still love Jared Goff. He took the Rams to the Super Bowl, so I really want to see him succeed in Detroit. I love Aiden Hutchinson as well. And I didn't catch the episode of Hard Knocks, but the last time I think I saw a Hard Knocks episode was back in 2016 when the Rams were on Hard Knocks.
This one's worth watching.
This was the best episode of Hard Knocks I've ever seen. That moment, that 90 seconds with Amir Abdullah after that practice, screaming at everybody that last year sucked. I've never lost that many games in my life. This has to stop. I'm crying right now, dudes. Join with me. And then, he had a couple players, the coach, questioning him, why are we doing full pads this early? And he says, guys, if I don't get you ready, you're not going to win. And if you don't win, it's my fault, and I have to get you ready. Man, that is the all-heart team in the NFL, as far as I'm concerned, is the Detroit Lions. And I am so glad early in the year they had them at a max of 5.5 wins, and I placed a significant bet for them to win more than 5.5. And we'll see how that works out. Rocky, your thoughts on what's going on in Pittsburgh in terms of their quarterback? They have Kenny Pickett as third string, Mason Rudolph is second, And the Bills and Chicago former quarterback as first string, and all the reports out of training camp is he can't hit the broadside of a thoughts.
Yeah, well, look, I think Rudolph has definitely put in his time. He knows the system. He's been in Pittsburgh, right? He knows the system. I don't know if he's been there this whole time. It seems like he's been there for a decade, man. Maybe he went somewhere and came back. But he knows Tomlin. Tomlin knows him. I think they can trust each other. I think if this first-string quarterback doesn't pan out, Rudolph will be the bridge until Kenny Pickett gets ready. They're obviously – they think Kenny Pickett is going to be their future, and they want him to be their franchise quarterback going forward. But they have to get him ready. They're going to throw him in there right now. They're going to wait till he's ready. And who's he going to learn from? Really? I mean, Rudolph.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph.
Mitch Trubisky,
Trubisky, yeah, that's the starter, right? Mitch Trubisky. Well, there you go. Trubisky will crap the bed. Rudolph will come in and finish the season for him. That's
so the Seahawks and the Steelers play this weekend. I'm going to take the Seahawks and the Steelers to go under 33.5, and here's why. Nobody has a decent backup quarterback, and Rashad Penny is out. And they're not going to risk their rookie, key running back for Seattle much. And you're going to have 2 or 3 crappy quarterbacks playing. So maybe this game ends up 14-10, 17-13. I don't see a lot of scoring. Christian, you look like you're smelling something foul. Why?
You just love to bash on my dude Drew Lock, man.
No, he may play great. I'm just saying there's a lot of injuries.
Yeah, there is a lot of injuries, and there's a lot of stuff to look at this game. One, they're putting Geno Smith starting again. Even though he kind of crapped the bed the previous preseason game. He went only 10 for 19 with 94 yards in 2 halves, while Drew Lock in a quarter and a half, went for 18 for 27, 185 yards, and a touchdown. And that's pretty good numbers for a lot of people.
And you may be right, and that's wonderful. But are the Steelers and the Seahawks going to combine for more than 2 touchdowns apiece in the preseason game? What do you think?
More than 2 touchdowns apiece? No, yeah, I'll stay with you on that. They won't get more than 2 touchdowns apiece.
Then it's the under.
Seahawks win by 2. Yeah, take the under.
Yeah, there you go. That's the plan. Rocky, thoughts on the Rams? Anything new? Any news?
You're muted. You're muted,
Rock. Still muted, Rock.
Just kidding.
Still muted, Rock.
I'll move my lips. Yeah. So there's a lot happened. Coming out of training camp, we'll just do it like this. The good news is some great new young rookies. Jacoby Durant, who Christian interviewed. And by the way, speaking of those young guys, I believe that he and Darian Kendrick are definitely NFL ready. Their mindset is good. They're ready to compete on a professional level. And these rookies are going to see whether they're competing with Hill to see who plays opposite of our boy number 5, Jalen Ramsey. And I think it's going to be great. I believe Taylor Rapp, who was our Super Bowl game safety, will not be there. I think Nick Scott's going to beat him out for that position. My boy Logan Bruss has been balling, man. He's playing great, but I don't think he will start right away. I think he'll be later. Until, they're going to get him ready. Sheldon Coleman will come in and start it at that right guard position. But the real concern, of course, coming out of training camp was Matthew Stafford's elbow and the running game. Now, Cam Akers is back. I spoke to Cam Akers. We got that interview, Christian and I. Cam Akers was ready, man. I asked him, I said, look, Cam, when you came back from injury, you were given the hit. You were making those tackles pay. I hadn't seen anybody run in that with that kind of brute force in a long time. Putting his head down and delivering the hit. And he said, that's what I do. And he said, I promise you, you'll see a lot more of that. He guaranteed me that he was going to stay healthy. And
he gave you a promise.
He was running when he came back from from that injury. And I think the running game is, the Rams had a crappy running game. The whole playoffs after the Cardinals, they ran for like 150 yards, the whole 2.2 yards per rush. It was terrible, and they won the Super Bowl in spite of it. I think the Rams' running game now is going to be a lot more effective with Henderson and Cam Akers at the starting, and Henderson backing him up. The real questions were, of course, at cornerback. We lost Darius Williams and we lost one of our tackles to suspension. So those holes seem to be filled. These guys all have this mindset; they're ready. After talking to them, I think the Rams are going to be okay. Lou, I was worried. I'm not worried anymore.
Jeremy, a lot of people are saying the Raiders are the fourth best team in the AFC West. Why?
Raider hate. Just, traditional Raider hate. Albeit, there's a lot of people who are just never going to say things nice about the team, no matter how good they do. But I obviously disagree with that. I don't know where they're going to finish in the division. I know they're going to finish ahead of the Broncos. I think they have a chance to win the division if things come to fruition. There are some holes, are some questions, but there's also some areas where I think they're going to be kind of sneaky good. When you look at their linebackers, I love the combination they have of the young guys, in Divine Diablo. They've got the guy they brought in from Tennessee, who's a great coverage linebacker. And then, we had, I forget his name all of a sudden, but in the middle there, second in tackles in the NFL last year. Our linebackers are talented, and, they're going to be playing behind a couple of ends that are really good. Secondary has always been a question for the Raiders over the years, but I like the talent they added. I like Rock Ya-Sin back there. I like Hobbs coming off of a really good second half of the season last year. He's probably going to start or at least be in the slot there. They brought in some good talent in the secondary. With what the defensive coordinator did with the Giants defense last year, I like what he could do with the young guys and some of the talent they brought in free agency and in the draft over the last couple of years. I don't think the defense is going to be the traditional problem that it usually is for the Raiders. I think they're going to be middle of the pack, which is going to give them a couple of extra wins this season.
Tom Brady has decided that take 2 weeks off from training camp. Rocky, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, why not? He's Tom Brady. He doesn't need all the abuse on his body. He needs to rest. He's not getting any younger. I don't think he needed to be at training camp. Maybe get a few reps in, but I don't think he needs to see any preseason snaps at all. Period. And why not take? If he feels like after the first week of training camp he wants to take a couple weeks off, let him.
Christian,
I'm cool with it.
The same answer. He's Tom Brady. Tom Brady does not need to go to training camp. And besides being the best quarterback of all time, he's an experienced veteran, and he knows how his body feels, and he knows what he needs to do to prepare to go into the actual season. So being a guy like Tom Brady, you don't have to go to training camp, and no one really expects him to. Guys like Matthew Stafford, a lot of veterans don't go into, not training camp, preseason. Don't play in preseason games, but Tom Brady not playing preseason is no big deal, no big drama.
Not for me.
But one thing I do want to add from the Raiders, Jeremy, I do agree with you with the Raiders secondary being middle because they are ranked 15th in secondary defense. So I do agree with you on that. Yeah, right now. After the offseason, yes, right now. After the offseason, the signings, the trades, everyone they got, they're ranked 15th. So they are exactly middle.
I think, the Raider disrespect. The Raiders don't help themselves. They don't win playoff games, and people just go, Raiders,
No, they've been bad for 20 years for the most part. They've been bad. They've struggled. It hasn't been a, top of the line NFL team.
And that's from the front office, by the way.
Yeah, and I finally think Mark Davis has put this team on the right path. I like all the hires and the coach, the GM, the new team president. They have the new stadium. They're worth $4 billion now. They've got a
Beautiful
team
stadium.
on the field.
God damn! God damn! $4 billion.
Yeah,
So they're on their way to being a legit NFL team again and an organization, and it's fun to see. it's exciting.
They
finally.
made the right move. It's exactly right, Jeremy. They did everything right in the off season, and they went out and got some.
He may have a
coaches,
stupid
money.
haircut, but
I like
he's worth $4.5 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun for them.
Ravens to win, I did that. Saints over the Texans. Carolina over Washington. Lions to win tonight. They're close. Browns, Jaguars, +1.5 Browns. Seahawks, Steelers, under 33.5. Packers, 49ers, under 32.5. We'll see how that plays out. I'm going to drop out. Jeremy, take us out.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us once again on a Friday here for Steer the Line as we get closer to the season, and hopefully you continue to join us because it's only going to get that much more fun and interesting once real bets start coming in and we don't have to start talking about betting on preseason games. But enjoy the preseason for those of you watching, betting on it or not, and we'll see you guys here next week on YouTube, on Twitch, and of course on 1490 AM KMET. Go Raiders, go
Rams.
Go
Thank you,
football.
Jeremy. Good
We'll
job.
see you guys.